My name is Jamie Love. Welcome to my Ageless Beauty channel. Today I'm going to be going live with my friend Gabby Rodriguez. She also just joined my Ageless Beauty membership community and she's a part of our LA Raw Food Meetup. So excited to have her on today. She's a student of the mind. Her lifelong passion and pursuit for the mind, body, and spirit comes from her struggles with mental health and from seeing her mother's health suffer after a brain injury. Her pursuit to whole wellness has led her to a raw vegan lifestyle, facilitating others' emotional and mental healing and public speaking concerning these topics. Yay! Okay, I see you guys are all coming on. Hopefully you guys can hear me with this new mic that I have going on. This is the solution to my crazy headphones. Let's get her in here. Okay, I'm going to send you a request. Hello, India. Welcome. Welcome, welcome.
Hello, can you see me?
I cannot see you. Can you see me?
I could definitely see you.
All right. Well, as long as you can see me, is my head in the frame?
Yes, absolutely, it's in the frame.
Okay, beautiful. So welcome, Gabby. So excited to have you on here, and I'm so excited. I just want to say thank you for being a part of my Ageless Beauty community. It's such a pleasure to have you involved. And Gabby's also going to be doing a demonstration inside my private community this Sunday as part of our group calls. So super excited about that. Okay, so why don't you share a little bit about your background and what you do?
Okay, well, hi everyone. Oh, hi from India. Hello. Well, thank you so much for inviting me, Jamie. I feel like we met just a couple of months ago at the Raw meetup in Santa Monica, but I feel like I've known you for much longer, and that's
Mm-hmm.
your beautiful spirit. Not only are you beautiful in body, but you're so beautiful in spirit. And I think that's what even makes you more glowy, more radiant, because that
Oh, you're
totally
so
it, it
sweet. Thank
it's
you.
so yeah, it comes out to your surface.
Okay.
Well, thank you. What do I do? Well, I am a mother of two teenagers and a wife. I've been married. I believe, no, not that I believe. I know that my husband and I are celebrating our 25th anniversary, wedding anniversary, this coming in 2 weeks. And so I've had the privilege to be married with my husband for 25 years. And yes, I know it's been a very beautiful um, journey because love is strong, romance is so strong in the beginning. And I think we have this idea that it's going to remain that way for 25 years. And no, that's not reality. But however, the ups and downs, when you're down, you learn, you grow, and then when you propel yourself back up, you're stronger, and you discover your spouse, your partner, in a whole different level. So right now, I could say that we've plateaued, and we're just enjoying each other's company. And as a matter of fact, the other day I said, you know what? It's so odd. The house is so quiet. Everyone is gone. We're in a different season, and so we're discovering ourselves again, and we're going to start traveling. My husband is starting his business. I'm working more, and so it's just a beautiful season that we're in right now. And I just encourage all of you that just are going in your third year of marriage, your fifth year of marriage, that you know what, the best is yet to come. The best is yet to come.
I can totally,
So
I'll just stop you really quick. I can totally relate to that. And I think what people get so afraid of is that when everything goes through cycles, there's going to be ups and downs and, lessons and everything. And my husband and I have been together 7 years. And if we gave up when it was really hard, we wouldn't be where we are right now, you know? Like you're right, the best is yet to come. So you just got to keep pushing through, just like in business, just like in finances, just like in going to school. Like everything has a hard part that you just have to get through that hard part and get to the other side.
Where you have to work.
Yeah,
It's not easy. You have to work because if you think about it, you're coming with your background and your husband's coming with his background and you're coming together, right? And so it takes work and adjustment to love and to see your spouse through eyes of compassion because he's coming to the relationship with something that maybe you need, but he doesn't have because it wasn't given to him through his upbringing, right? Or he's coming and he's expecting something from you, but you don't have it because you don't have the skills that wasn't handed to you by your parents or your caregivers. So you have to now try to make that dynamic work. And you can only make it work through compassion. And a lot of people like to throw the towel in right away because they're like, oh, I can't do this. I can't do this. And my husband and I, we vowed that we never say the D word. I think it, and I know that he maybe thinks it, but we never affirm it. We never declare it.
or threatened
And
with it.
you know,
Yeah.
we never declare it. And then, the next, it's like children, right? One day they're fighting, and then the next thing there they are playing together, right? So yeah, so it's amazing. But so I'm a wife, I'm a mother. I homeschool my children. I graduated my son just last year. My daughter's going into her junior year, and we're really excited for this coming school year. I also took some classes with medical missionaries. And I don't know if many of your viewers are familiar. I'm pretty sure they're familiar with the Blue Zone. We have a Blue Zone here in California, and it's Loma Linda. And I had the privilege to be tutored by a doctor and a nurse. And I took their course called Medical Missionary. And so I have training in medical missionary. And that opened the doors for me to work at a detox center here in San Diego. And so I had the privilege to work in a detox center where I learned about enemas. I learned about raw eating and about juice detoxing. And it was really amazing because to that point I had just been plant-based, plant-based, eating cooked foods. But when I went and I witnessed the healing in such a short period of time of people that would come in with a tumor in their head, with gout, with fibromyalgia, with diabetes, having to take their insulin every day. And as I saw the progression of their healing, I was like, wait a minute, this is not a fad. This is not some kind of movement. This is literally medicine to the body. And it was amazing because I get to spend time with the guests and I would ask them questions. I would say, aren't you hungry? Aren't you hungry? Because the first 3 days was a complete detox of food. And they just had to drink cleansing drinks and do their enemas. And they would say, surprisingly, I'm not. And they would take their morning walks as part of their therapy to get sun. And I was just so blown away. And there was this one gentleman, I'm not going to say his name, obviously, because of confidential reasons. But when he came in, his ankles were about this big. His face was so rosy. You could barely see the features of his face. Everything was just so swollen. I put on different hats and I helped with the physical training and I was helping the physical trainer, just set the mats out and putting people into position, and he couldn't even be on his back. It was so bad. This poor gentleman. Well, at the end of the 10 days, his face, his features, the swelliness of his ankles, the gout, like like almost kind of like just like disappear, like before our eyes. And they did a blood analysis. They do a blood analysis to everyone that goes in. They want to see exactly what's going on in their blood. The before picture and the after picture of the test from the microscope. And in the beginning, I just didn't get it. I was like, well, what are these things? And she would say, the technician or the nurse would say, oh, those are parasites. Oh, that's protein in the blood. And I was like, why don't they tell us this? And like, when we go to the doctors, she's like, no, they just tell you you're low. And then just the basics. They don't really analyze the blood. So for one moment I said, I don't believe this. That must be something to do with just the way our blood is. It's something that's not parasites. That cannot be parasites in our blood. There's no way that we could be walking around with that kind of movement in our blood. Well, after 10 days, they do a retesting of the blood. And when I saw this man's blood, my jaw dropped.
They were
Clean,
gone. Do you mind me
clean.
asking what they did to remove the parasites from his blood?
Well, it was a protocol. I don't know specifically because obviously it was everyone was going with a different ailment. Everyone had a different ailment, so that's okay. But they were doing the enemas. They were taking detox
Herbs.
drinks. They were taking herbs, tinctures. They would go into, after 3 days of the intense detoxification, they would go into a raw diet, exercise, and then they will also have lectures, and there was also connection, environment. It was also understanding what's happening in your body, not just here, take this information, take this drink. They were taking the knowledge and understanding and applying it, and that in itself is also very healing. When you
Yeah.
understand what's happening in your body, when you understand where you're coming from, then you're able to the body's able to heal a lot faster. So I had the privilege to.
That's amazing. What was, tell me later, like the name of this place
Absolutely.
or send it to me or something. I'm so curious about this place in California. It's so interesting. Let me ask your opinion about, because there's so many different variations of the raw food diet. There's so many different opinions. There's so many different, there's different science coming from different angles. And, we have, and I'm a strong believer in herbs and enemas, but then we have raw foodists who are like just about whole foods, no juicing, no enemas, no herbs, just fruits, whatever. Um, but they're not, maybe testing the blood and things like that. So tell me what your thoughts are on trying to heal without using these modalities.
Well, I always like to use the saying of show me the receipts. For example, with this gentleman, I didn't believe it. I was very skeptical. I was like, how is it that just by eating raw and by doing these kind of like little drinking herbs and these things, that the blood is completely going to be cleansed? And so when I saw the results, that was the receipt. That's all I needed to be like, this works. Whatever, this is healing. And it takes us back to the father of medicine when he says, let thy food be thy medicine. And not only that, but also the fact that they would go and they would have lectures, they don't have community. It's a wholeness about healing. So some people might say, no, you don't need the herbs, you don't need the tinctures. All you need is just whole foods and eat raw and eat your fruits. And some people might be like, oh no, but I need my herbs. I need to do my deparasiting, and I need to, take these tinctures along with eating this way.
That's how I
I
feel. I feel
Yeah.
like it's not enough. Just the diet itself is not enough
Well,
sometimes.
it's a constant cleansing, because if you think about it, we are completely being bombarded by toxins all the time. Even right now, as I sit and you sit in your office, there's toxins in your office. I'm here in my beautiful garden with a bunch of plants that take in, and clean the air, but there's still toxins because it's in the air. It,
Yeah,
it's, it,
and we have whatever our age is, we have that many years of putting toxins into our body, and it's going to take more than 6 months of just eating raw to clean that out.
it's a constant cleaning. And last time we had our meeting, our membership meeting, you brought up the method of Honopono, I think it was. It's a
Yeah,
constant cleaning,
yes,
cleaning. I'm
yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
sorry, I love you, please forgive me, I'm sorry. It's the same thing with our body. It's a constant cleaning. I can't think for once that I did a 40-day juice fast and I'm clear free, right? No, absolutely not. I have to maintain my temple. And that's why I do once a month, I do my 3-day juice fast. Once a week, I do my water fast. And it's a constant cleaning.
Love that maintenance. That's so
It's
great.
a constant,
That's so great.
yes, it's a constant. So I cannot speak and say, I'm not absolute to say only herbs and tinctures or only fruits and greens, because that hasn't been my experience. My experience has been that when I did the juice cleanse, I released the mucus plaque, day 18.
Wow.
That was my experience. Many people say no, they never got to that or whatever, but that was my experience. That got me to be like, oh my Lord, I was going to do this just for 25 days. I'm going to continue. That was my experience. And then when I jumped into eating the raw 30-day raw, oh, I felt amazing. I feel amazing. I'm parked here. I am anchored here right now. And I don't know what tomorrow brings, but as of right now, I feel amazing. I went running. I did 3 miles today. And before my juice cleanse, I couldn't do that. My knees would hurt, my ankles would hurt, my feet would hurt. So that gives
Sometimes
me,
you just have to do a long cleanse. Like you have to just do the work, the detox. It's so hard because a lot of people don't want to go through it, but I went through it, you went through it. And even though I'm not 100% raw now, I still feel so much better, even if I eat cooked food now than I did before I did my juice cleanse.
yes, yes. And you see, it's very tricky because um, labels. It's like, oh, raw. Why can't we just say, we eat raw? Because
I
we,
know, I know. I
the
wish we could, but
yeah,
there's people who are so judgmental.
because we, if you think about it, we're such a small percentage. We're
Yeah.
such a small percentage of the
Like, why do we have to have such division inside the raw community? Why can't we just be the raw community? Whether that's why with this raw food movement, the raw food worldwide meetup, I'm really promoting non-judgment. No matter what kind of raw food diet you are on, or what percentage of raw, it doesn't matter. And I'm trying to just get that out of people's heads, and let's just love and appreciate our like-mindedness for the raw lifestyle. And that's
I,
really all that matters. It doesn't matter what you eat or what I eat. It shouldn't even be up for debate.
you know,
You know?
Jamie, it reminds me of how I grew up, because I grew up. I didn't share everything because there wouldn't be enough time. But maybe perhaps next time we could come back and I could share a little bit more about my history. But I grew up with a lot of labels and a lot of judgment. And when you do that, you cause anxiety. Because I've read so many comments. I just did an interview. I did an interview back a couple of months ago with Jillian Berry, and I was reading some of the comments, and some of the comments, or some people are following me and sending me comments on my Instagram, and they're like, oh, but I really want to eat raw, but I ate chicken last week and I feel so bad. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's what this does. It causes someone to be like, I can't do it. So if I can't do it, I'm just going to give up. Instead of giving them grace and space and saying, you know what? You're doing the best that you can. And you are so far from how you were yesterday, eating probably meat 3 times a day, for years.
Yeah.
Why can't we take that approach, right? Why can't we make that space for people?
It's not all or nothing.
It's not all for nothing.
It's not all or
It's a
nothing.
journey.
Yeah, it is a journey. It's not a destination. It's not like once I get to raw. No, it's like, it's just it's like there's you learn about yourself as you work through these addictions, as you start giving things up, as you learn how to fast, as you start cleaning the body, as the emotions come up. It's evolution. You're evolving as a human
Evolve.
being. Your consciousness is evolving. It's just part of the journey. It's just an experience, really. That's all it is.
Yes,
Going raw or being raw or exploring the raw food diet is just an experience and nothing more. It doesn't define who you are.
yes.
A
It's a
lifelong
long journey.
journey. Yeah.
Yes. And I love that you say evolved, because that's why I chose that name, evolved. And if you see evolved really close, it has the word love in it. And love conquers all things. And so when these people come and they're like, oh no, you have to do it this way, and you can't say you're a raw if you eat this, I would say, you know what, wholeness. That is a goal. Wholeness is a goal. And wholeness involves our body, our mind, and our spirit. And when one of those areas are imbalanced, they imbalance everything. The goal is not that, oh, I have to be fully raw. The goal is balance. Balance. How is your mind life, your thought life? How is your body life? And how is your spirit life?
Yeah, and you can, there's nothing wrong with eating 100% raw. I think it's amazing
If
if you feel balanced
if you
while eating
can,
raw.
yeah,
Yes, yes,
you can.
if you can eat raw and you're feeling balanced, then it's right, you know. But if it's a struggle and you're battling and you're
You're
feeling guilty,
bloated.
you're just putting so much negative energy and toxic, emotions inside of yourself, like that. Now you got to come back to a place of balance, you
You
know.
cause, yeah, you cause an alarm in your body.
Yeah.
Anything that makes the body feel less than wonderful, anything that makes it feel less than wonderful is an alarm that something is not right. And so then the whole activating system happens, fight and flight. And we might think that fight and flight only gets activated when, let's just say we're driving and somebody honks, or you hear a screeching in the car and you're like, that moment, like, am I getting hit? Or you hear the sirens. Those are things that kind of like wake you up, like, and your fight and flight activate right away. But the fight and flight can activate with you simply being in line, and somebody's taking too long, and you're like, that activates it.
Yeah.
Just your mhm.
Well, and guilt. So I don't think people realize how hard it is to forgive ourselves. And when we feel self guilt for the mistakes that we think we're making, it eats us alive. Like we really have to let go of the shame and the guilt that we're associating with the choices that we're making towards our diet and our food.
Absolutely. There's water, habits, oxygen, um, love, exercise, environment, sunlight, and sleep. Those are the pillars of wholeness. And within that, if you think about it, the body is, nutrition. I forgot nutrition, right? Nutrition, movement, and the mind is habits, right? And our spirit is the love. And our spirit goes beyond our body. It goes beyond our body. Our spirit goes and is the one that connects to the Most High. And so when we connect to the Most High, then we can reflect that forgiveness, that compassion, that love, that life. When we connect to that life, that source of life, we're up there with it. And then we could come and we can now have compassion. And so if you're eating your plate with, God forbid, like a steamed sweet potato, and I'm here with my big old huge salad, I'm not going to say, Jamie, aren't you the person that's in charge of this whole raw thing? People should be seeing you eat just raw right there, you know,
Yeah. I
where
think I shock people sometimes when I tell them I do eat cooked food, I'm like, I'm not 100. I have these bouts where I do 100% raw, but I don't feel the need that I have to be perfect, and I don't want other people to think that they have to be perfect either.
exactly, exactly. That's not an absolute, that's not a factor to the wholeness, right? But if I cast judgment to you and put that in you, then Jamie, if you don't have judgment in you, which you don't, it doesn't even affect you.
Ah, that's right. That's
Whatever you hold within, that's what you give. So if I have judgment and I'm giving it to you, but you don't have judgment in you, you just see it like, oh, she's had, oh, okay, that's good.
that's
You
so
receive,
true.
yeah, you receive what you receive
That's
what
why
you
now,
receive.
like, I used to care a lot when I first changed my diet. I was getting a lot of criticism from family and friends about what I was doing. I just was not strong enough to handle the criticism, and I failed like big time. And it took me 8 years of struggling and battling to get back to eating raw. And now I literally could care less what anybody thinks. You know,
And you know, and
I do not care. I don't care. Yeah.
good. I'm so glad because you know what? You don't care because it's not a priority for you. You have other things going for you. You have other things that you see
And
as priority.
look at my diet as a platform, as a tool to help me. And I was just watching Ted Carr was on an interview, and he was saying he no longer he was fruitarian for a long time. Now he incorporates some cooked rice and quinoa, and he said he uses it as a tool. He's like, if you want to be a a triathlete or a super thin model, like maybe just eating fruit, because that's going to give you the body that you want. And if you're trying to put on muscle, like maybe add some more quinoa into your diet, like, you know what I mean? So it's really like, he is a long-term fruitarian, now eating a little bit of cooked food because it's benefiting his needs of how he wants to build his body, so he's using it as a tool for what he needs. I use, my diet as a tool to help me be more productive, have more focus, have more energy, to grow younger, to look brighter and more beautiful, So it's really, it's really unique to your own lifestyle.
Yeah,
Honestly, like no one can tell you the right diet for you.
exactly.
And I honestly, like people are going to say there is a right way to eat anyway, and there's a right way to eat raw, but I don't necessarily know if there's one right diet for everyone, one size fits all.
Yes, and you said something very key. This gentleman that you were mentioning about how he started as a fruitarian for many years, and he started to incorporate cooked foods. It's an evolution. If we don't change, we stay in the same place. There must be change. Have you ever seen someone that it seems like they got stuck in an era, like in the 90s or in the 80s, and you're
Yeah,
like, oh, I don't,
mostly
why,
the 60s,
yeah,
60s.
why do they still wear their hair? Like, oh, why don't they just get with the times, right? They miss out. Or people that still have a flip phone, right? And I'm not casting judgment, but you're right. If you have a flip phone, then you are pretty much behind, and you're gonna not get certain messages. You're gonna be behind because you're not with technology, and not because technology is bad or because it's bad for you not to have technology. It's just that things progress, and if you don't move along with that current, you're gonna be left behind.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I feel my best and I look my best when I'm eating 100% raw. But I choose to incorporate some cooked foods. It's not that I can't or I won't or I don't want to eat 100% raw. I choose to, incorporate. And I think, that's like finding the balance that's right for you.
Well, absolutely. And you see, when we put absolutes and like, oh, I'm gonna call myself a raw vegan, and then someone happens to have some cooked quinoa, and they're like, oh, do you want some quinoa with your salad? At that moment where you're like, oh, I do really want quinoa, when you question yourself, now you have to ask yourself, am I making food an idol?
Mm.
Am I making my diet an idol? Where I'm like,
Mm.
I have to like really think about, oh no, if I eat quinoa, then I can't, then I'm not a full rawness. And I mean,
Yeah.
food, raw vegan, or what's the term? Raw, what?
Yeah.
What's the
Well,
term?
I don't I don't know. Raw vegan?
Raw
Is
vegan.
that what you're saying?
I guess, oh, then I can't call myself a raw vegan because I had some cooked quinoa.
Yeah.
You're putting too
I know.
much.
I have to say hi, Raw. But it's funny that you say that because there's a woman in my Telegram group. She's doing the 30-day raw challenge, and she is high raw, but she's doing the 30-day challenge, and she's been doing the 30-day challenge every month. And normally she tries to eat raw, or she'll eat raw for a few days, and sometimes she'll have a little something cooked for dinner or whatever. But for the most part, she's doing the challenge. And she said to me the other day, she goes, something's happening to me. She goes, I have to cooked vegan food for my boyfriend, and a lot of times I'll taste it or I'll eat some with him. She goes, but lately I have not had the desire to eat any cooked food. She's like, I'm really just naturally effortlessly loving just eating raw. And I think that's the beauty of it because she's naturally evolving.
Yes.
You know, like I don't think it's something that we have to force. I think just continuously keep incorporating healthy raw foods into your diet. And I think naturally your cravings for cooked food are just going to eventually fall away and you're going to want them less and less anyway.
You see that's the beauty, where it's effortless, where your body asks for it. When I was doing the 30-day raw, or even when I was doing the 40-day juice cleanse, and I had to cook for my family, I made the best meals. My daughter's like, Mom, you should do this juicing thing more often. Your food's coming out so good. And I never tasted it. It was
Oh,
just from it came from, again, because when you do these fasts, you're very everything's surfaced. You're very like in
alert.
touch with God.
Yeah.
Yes, you're very, so I had just this intuition where I would put my seasonings and everything. And I didn't have any inclination to eat.
It's
And
almost like you
I
became one with the cooking. Like you were such just
went with
the
the
flow.
cookie.
You're like Ratatouille. What's that little
Oh
cartoon
yes, a
with the rat?
cartoon. Yes.
It's exactly the right spices to put in.
So yes. So there's
Yeah.
no condemnation if somebody decides, especially if you're, imagine you're coming from a lifetime of eating somebody else's life. And it's biophilia. Biophilia means a connection with nature and animals and plants.
Oh, I have a connection way more than I used to with animals and plants. When I was little, we went hiking up in the mountains in the Carolinas, and for the very first time, I was in the middle of the mountains in Asheville, North Carolina. There's a waterfall, and I stopped, and something came over me, and I was fully present, probably for the first time in my life. I think I was, well, not the first time in my life, but like I had a spiritual experience in the woods. And I felt so connected to everything, to nature. And I thought it was a spiritual experience, but little did I know that you can live your life through that state where you're constantly always just connected to yourself, connected to the divine, connected to nature, connected to animals, connected to humanity, connected to your purpose, just fully tapped in all the time. And people do drugs. I used to do drugs, psychedelics, or drink alcohol, to feel this feeling. And now I'm completely sober and I feel this connected all the time. It's priceless, you
Yes,
guys. It's
there's
priceless.
it's called biology, philia, plant, nature, and the reason being is that it's in our DNA, that connection to have with everything around us. And when we have a high, um, when we're not eating the flesh of another life, we don't have all those adrenalines. We don't have everything that compose this life. We don't have it within us. So now we could connect to it so much more effortlessly. So it's so important to be out in nature. And it's actually one of the, I like to call laws, because you're out and getting the sun, you're out in nature, and you're able to connect to God, the creator. And so, it's beautiful. It's actually very beautiful. And I don't know how we came to this. We're talking about nature. We're all over the place, right?
That's the fun of it. I love it. I love when the conversation, you have no idea where it's going to go.
That's right. But you know what? If anything, I want to leave your those that are watching. I want to at least. I feel like I want to instead of just talking and talking, sharing my
Go
experience,
ahead.
whatever.
Yeah,
I
go
want
ahead.
to I want to leave something. And I think one of the major things that I want to leave the people that are joining us right now is really, really try to, if you're thinking about having more raw foods, you're thinking of diving into doing a cleanse, I would really advise that you first check your mind. Check your mind. Why do you want to do this fast? Oh, because I want to heal. Okay. What do you want to heal from? I want to heal from, I don't know, let's just say breast cancer. Okay. What about breast cancer do you want to heal? Oh, I want to get rid of the tumor. Okay. What caused the tumor? And really just unlayer and layer and layer, because you cannot solve a problem within a problem. If how your environment and how you thought, your consciousness created this weakness in your body where your cells were not able to uh, where your cells mutate a certain way. If you created this environment in this state, it's called epigenetics, right? How our thoughts influence our body and our genes. Dr. Dispenza talks about it all the time. How did you create? What was your environment? What was your thought life? Because you cannot solve a problem. I want to solve my, my cancer problem or my diabetes or whatever problem within the problem. You first have to clean your messy mind. And then from there, you'll see how effortless it would be to do a cleanse, a challenge. And that's what I was able to do these challenges, was because first I took care of my mind. My mind. You see, the mind is, in ancient times, it was considered the heart. When you hear the heart, everything comes from, it's actually the mind. The mind. And so everything flows from the heart. Everything, all issues flow from the heart, from the mind. So how is the state of your mind? So many of us have so many traumatic experiences that we had growing up, memories. They're edged in our brain, and the brain remembers everything. The brain records everything. Even, for example, right now that I'm sitting here and I'm just focused on you, Jamie, only, my eyes peripherally are seeing the green plants, I'm feeling the air, I'm hearing the birds, and my brain is recording all that. Oh, hummingbird. My brain is recording all that. It records everything. So when we go through a traumatic experience and our body feels less than wonderful, feels threatened, that is recorded. And sometimes what happens is that we operate from that point of reference, and everything that we do is from that point of reference, from that memory, from that belief. So no matter how, so no matter how hard, but no matter how hard we try to live different and evolve, we're always going to be doing that loop, because we're always going to be believing from that belief and from those memories. It's so imperative. Again, like you said, we got to clean it. We got to clean it every single day. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. And you know, and there's, it's a process.
Let's do it right now. Let's do the Ho'oponopono prayer.
Absolutely.
So, I'm sorry, please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. So everybody watching, we're going to repeat this together. So just close your eyes and I want you to open your heart. Just relax your shoulders. A nice deep breath in. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. Anytime something comes up, a thought, an emotion, just stop and say this prayer. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. Honestly, I've been doing this. It's been dissolving things like this. Thoughts that I feel creeping in, I just stop and I do the prayer and they go away. Emotions start to heal and to release. It's really powerful, you guys.
Just right now, don't you feel, just right now, don't you feel that peace? And it's beautiful because we could say that to ourselves too. I love you. I'm sorry. Forgive me. Because so many times we hold so many hurts about ourselves. We have so many aspects about ourselves that we're not, we don't show grace towards ourselves. And if we can't love ourselves, then how can we love others? We need to experience that love within ourselves. And how do we know that what love is? Because God is love. And if we can experience that love of God, that's the first and greatest commandment. Love the Lord your God with all your heart. That's with all your mind, with all your soul, and all your strength. And by doing that by default, we will experience that love. We will recognize what that love is. And we will want to do things to reflect that love. And gossip is not showing that love to us. Criticism to ourselves and to others is not showing that love to us. So when we have that love, Jamie, like you have, then you're able to give it to me and invite me here and just be so kind to me. And then I'm able to experience that love. And that's what connects me. And then now I give it to my children and I give it to my husband. And it's just this huge orb. And this is why I love this community. Yeah, you know, some of us need a little bit more work, but we're a work in progress. But I love this. And some of us are coming because we were hurt and wounded from a religious upbringing, right? And we're kind of just on the outskirts. But we also need to be fed. We also want to know. We also want life. So I enjoy, I'm really enjoying this. So
Yeah.
sweet.
Do you have any other tips other than the Ho'oponopono prayer? Like,
Yes, as you know, I'm going to go into the physical. And I would just encourage people to drink more water. Drink some. And I know it sounds so cliche-ish, but you know what? Water does miracles. It really does. And I even had to write all the things that water does. But really quick, you know, just the functions of our body run when we are so hydrated. So one, forgive. Forgive yourself. When you forgive yourself, then you have that to give to somebody else, right? When you have compassion towards yourself, then you have compassion to give to somebody else. Clean yourself. Love yourself. And when I say love yourself, I'm not saying like, oh, you know, do self-love. No. Do things that make you feel, that show your body that you're loved. Don't put your body in a fight and flight situation. Don't turn the alarm on because it takes a lot of energy for your body to go through that. And there's no lion chasing you. Nobody's running around with a knife towards you. Your baby is not in the ocean drowning, the car, God forbid, or a car's not over your baby. You don't, let's save that energy and that beautiful system for those moments. But the moment you feel uncomfortable, the moment you feel your heart pitter patter, ah, you know what? I'm not loving myself. What am I thinking that's causing my body to go into alarm? That's something like there's a lion out there. I love you, Gabby. I'm I'm sorry, Gabby. I forgive you, Gabby. Right? And just see what memories come. Maybe there's a memory of rejection. Maybe there's a memory of abandonment. Maybe there's anger, there's fear. Go there. Don't shove it back down because then you're always going to be operating from that fear, from that guilt. I like to say figs: fear, insecurity, guilt, and shame. And isn't that interesting? Like the ancient book says that they covered themselves with figs. When we cover ourselves with figs, with fear, insecurity, guilt, and shame, then God can't find us. There's no connection. You got to take off those fig leaves. Be vulnerable. It's
it feels good to have done healing, doesn't it? Like it
it
feels really good. Like I look back at my life where I was and I was just so depressed or had so many insecurities, so much judgment toward myself and others, so much resistance towards everything. Just woke up feeling like a victim every day. And it feels so good just to be where I'm at in my headspace and in my physical body right now.
and you're elevated. You're in a whole different place. That's the
I'm a
thing.
whole different
Yeah.
person. Yeah.
When you heal yourself, your mind, because you see, our body's just a reflection of our mind. The mind is the one that gives instruction to the body, and so when we heal our mind, our body's just going to follow through. But then it's up to us to level up. You can't just stay Jamie here. Now it's Jamie with this membership, where you're creating this new atmosphere and experience for us. You level up. You can't just stay the same. You have to evolve. And every time we heal, and just, you know what, at this level, there might be also different kind of challenges because the more you have, just you're just open to more, right? But then you could look back and say, well, you know what, I went from there to here. I did it from there to here, so I could do it from here to the next gap, the next leap. So I would encourage people to drink more water, because if you drink more water, you know, there's a book that I read. It's called the I wrote it down right here. It's Your Body's Many Cries for Water. I'm pretty sure some of you have read it, and it's about this Doctor F. Bagman. I'm gonna butcher his name.
Every
Bag
better wonder.
Bagman Head. And I'll give it to you so you could put it up for your people that are watching.
Okay.
And he discovered that when he was a prisoner of war, and he's a doctor, and when he was in prison, the prisoners found out that he was a doctor, and so they all kind of just like hovered him, and they're like, you know, I'm going through this, I'm going through that, and he didn't know what to do. He's like, I have no medicine. What can I prescribe? What can I give him? And he said, drink water, drink water. He would prescribe to them 15 drink water every 15 minutes. Every 15 minutes. What he found out is a lot of these ailments that these prisoners had was just because they were so dehydrated. 75% of America is dehydrated because we think that just, yay, we're drinking our water, because we think that we drink our, 8 cups of water that we're fine, right? But in reality, it takes, I think, 2.5 quarts just to be at level, just to function. So it takes, in 24 hours, it takes, our kidneys use 1.5 quarts of water. Our on our skin, 0.5. Our colon, 0.3. Our lungs, 0.2. Totaling 2.5 quarts of water. That's just what we need just to function. And when we don't get that amount of water, guess what happens? Then our body's like, it starts to take water from areas that we need.
The brain, probably the brain and
the brain,
your organs, vital organs.
exactly. And so then we say, wow, why do I have migraines? Why do I have ulcers? Why do I have these things that could actually be eliminated just by being hydrated?
Yeah.
Just by being hydrated.
Even Lauren Lockman was saying that even on a fruit-based diet, you still need to drink water. Even if you're a fruitarian, eating lots of watermelon, tons of watery fruits, you still have to drink water. That's what he recommends. What do you mind sharing if they say what type of water they recommend in the book?
You know what? I don't remember what kind of water they recommend in the book. I read it a couple of months ago. That's a good question. I don't.
What kind of water do you drink? Just curious. You don't have to share if you don't want to.
Oh no, yes, I'd love to share. I have a Berkey, and so we use a Berkey. Are you familiar with the Berkey? It's a water filter system, and it filters fluoride. It has different cartridges. It filters fluoride in the water, chlorine,